Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Adventures in Arcane Space. Once again, our players are...
Hi, I'm Higgimus, Corporal, First Class, and I play Giff Fighter.
Hi, I'm David Bootback Shepherd. I play Braxon, who's a human fighter.
We're missing a person, so James.
Oh, I'm James. I play Ockar, human paladin.
Oh, oh God! Sorry about that. Levalithana, an elven wild mage.
Hi, I'm Zakar. I play Lafdul Moonglade. His title's something to do with philanthropist, but he seems to want to corrupt it somehow with his own wily ways.
Philanthropist extraordinaire. He does lots of good works for
His
the
own
Lafdul
cause.
Foundation.
First name Philip, last name Lanthropist.
So yes, we are missing the player of our ranger today. To quickly recap, you have entered the strange black sphere at the center of the crystal sphere that you are at. Ended up traveling along some straight corridors and managed to end up back where you started. You backtracked a bit and took a branching pathway that was about 500 feet long, and you're just about to get to the end of that corridor when we ended the session last time. Before we go on, was there anything that anyone wanted to bring up or do or anything like that along this roughly 500-foot corridor?
I think I'm going to start drawing a map. I think it might help.
That might help. It might help.
Now, we don't know in character that the big bad evil guy's at the other end of the corridor.
Well,
I mean, do you know that the big bad evil guy is at the end of the corridor anyway?
No, we don't.
Well,
Exactly.
we know
It's just, it happens all the time like this.
I'm not sure how often we've had big bad evil guys. I think that's only happened to us once, maybe twice.
So real fast for those watching, Roll20 has done some updates since last week. So they've moved the location of the green hit point bar and also added in some helpful numbers for those who are controlling their characters. I have fixed up Bjomolf, and I've also added on for Ockar. You guys, do you guys all see a little radius around Ockar now?
oh
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I do not, but I assume that's because of my alignment. Or...
Nope.
It's
No,
light
he's got
blue.
a-
Yeah, it's pretty
he's got
faint.
a
You might
You
need
have
to
to zoom in
Oh,
to see it.
That's by aura of.
Yeah,
Good.
that's the protection.
Ew.
Yeah, as long as
Yeah.
you're around me, you get a little bit of bonus to your
Lafdul's like,
HG,
ew.
I think.
So that's just so that we can more easily remember where that is and whether people are getting that bonus or not. It's just a -1 to attack, so opponents
So
get a
that's his
-1.
that's his goodness stink area.
It doesn't. It doesn't smell.
No one actually is aware of it. No member of the party is actually aware of it.
Nope. I'm the only one that's aware of it.
Well, evil
Kind of.
creatures who enter that do detect it. They do feel it. They may not know what it is unless they've encountered paladins before, but they do not. They are not aware of it.
All right, I'm going to keep on playing like I don't know about it.
It's mostly just for understanding. I mean, you guys are aware that he's told you that if you're close to him, his deity will give you some additional protection. That's perfectly fine to do that. To a certain extent, he doesn't know how big the radius is. You guys don't know exactly how big the radius is, but it is a situation where he has told you that. Okay, so we're still on this map just because I don't have a map to show you because that would give away the game. Anyway, but yes. If Lafdul, you want to
because
take
it's a maze.
yeah, sort of. Anyway, so you are traveling along this 500-foot corridor. It is still made of the black stone that the other corridors are made of. There are no significant distinguishing features about the corridor itself. And
We've ended back at square one, haven't we?
you
Essentially.
ended up back at square one, but you backtracked to a previous chamber that had a branching path. So you entered through a 500-foot corridor, came to a spherical chamber that had 2 exits from it, basically opposite each other, perpendicular to where you came in. You went down one, ended up in another chamber with 2 exits and one of those perpendicular, one of those straight across, one of those perpendicular. You went straight across. And you ended up in another chamber with 2 exits, one straight across, one perpendicular, and continuing straight across, you ended up back where you started. Every single one of the corridors that you went through was completely straight.
So there's 4 in the straight corridor in a sequence. Is that right?
3.
It's
3.
a shame you don't have like drawing tools on this, because I'm having to use paint because I got better drawing tools than paint.
So, but I thought there was. So there's 3, including where we came in.
I think we're kind of going around in a circle. Is what the deal is.
Yeah, we did. We went round in a circle.
Except
but
the corridors were all straight.
Either that, or it's very much like the original Legend of Zelda, where there's that once where you have to go in like a certain pattern.
Even I don't remember that, and I've played a lot of Zelda games.
I've got a
original
funny
one.
feeling that Higgimus might solve this adventure.
Can you describe the path we took from the start again? Because I'm drawing. We go in a straight line, then we had 2 branching off paths, left and right.
Well, so the thing is that these corridors that you're traveling along are basically spherical tubes. I mean, not spherical, cylindrical tubes, and you can walk along the entire inner surface. So some of you may come into a chamber and it's to your right. A pathway is to your right. Others, it's to their left because you're coming in. One is like walking along the ceiling. One is walking along the quote-unquote floor. You confused yet?
I'm just.
Were we getting ready to enter into a room?
Yes, you were.
Okay.
I get that, but this makes it terrible for drawing.
I know.
So you need to get something like a toilet roll tube and draw a circle around the toilet roll tube on the outside, and then the branches will be up and down vertically.
Well, the rooms that you come into are spherical.
Yeah.
From what I heard, it could also be maybe a spend. Couldn't it? No, it couldn't be.
This entire thing that we're in, it's vaguely in a giant sphere or something big and round.
Yeah, it is all within a sphere.
And we went into it from the inside, didn't we?
Yeah.
And got into it from one of those corridors. So
I'd
say that maybe one of those other corridors will also come out on the inside, and the other 2 will go somewhere else.
I would like to step into this room, or not step into, but look into this room that we're getting ready to head into.
I'm just going to PM hold, actually. It's better to do that.
Well, I'm not going to tell you if it's correct or not.
No, because yeah, it's not whether it's correct or not. It's whether I understand.
Oh. So, was it 3 chambers we passed through, or 4?
3 chambers you
Hang
passed through.
on.
3. That's brr. It should have been 4. Because
From
we
the
were doing the planes before. It should have been like the elemental planes.
How many entrances from the first spherical room we entered is there? How many other exits?
There's one other pathway that you have not taken.
Oh, no. Not what we have not taken in total.
3, isn't it?
Okay, so you started, your ship is docked in a spherical chamber. You left that through a cylindrical tube. Got to another
Yeah.
spherical chamber, which had 2 pathways out.
Oh, hang on. I'm going to have to redo my map, because I've done that bit wrong. Alright, that could go there, that could go there.
See, and now you're realizing that you should have been taking notes last session, huh?
Yeah, I didn't think we were going to start drawing a map, but... How? Could do little things like that. They had two branching pathways from this bit, from the first sphere.
So
the second spherical room, I guess. If the first one's where we're docked.
Yes.
Were they like?
You came in perpendicular to them. They were opposite each other.
The thing is we covered everything apart from 2 other branches.
One other.
There's the one.
You're going down the second one.
All right. But there's a third one. So there's the one we came in on. There's the one we're exploring now, and there's a third one. That's it, yeah?
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
No.
I thought you said
All
there
right,
was
so
one branch.
once again, I will give you it one more time, and then you're going to have to muddle through it. If you want to backtrack and re-examine this area, you can. But
yeah.
it's only so many times I can describe the scenario to you. So
this is what I'm drawing so far.
Hold on. You came in. Your ship is docked in a large spherical chamber.
Yeah.
You entered into a corridor, ended up at a spherical chamber, at which there are 2 perpendicular exits from it.
Yes.
So the essentially right angles, and those 2 are opposite each other.
Like a T junction.
Yeah.
Oh, T. Oh, well, I've done more like a Y junction than a T.
You went down one. It was straight. It took you to a much larger spherical chamber. Directly across from you, from where you came in, there was another exit, and then there was one perpendicular to the one you came in.
So that's a T junction.
It's another T junction.
Uh-huh.
You went straight across.
Yeah.
You got to another smaller spherical chamber with, again, straight across exit and a perpendicular exit. So another T junction.
So that's 3 T junctions.
And you continued straight through, and you ended up back where you started.
So there's 4 circles on the loop.
No. 3.
3. So there's 3 T junctions. So if there's 3 T junctions, there's the road we came in.
That was one.
And the other
you passed the second one, and you decided to backtrack to the third one once you realized that you ended up back where you started.
Yeah.
So
there's only three paths in total.
Out from that section, yeah.
Right. Okay. Cool.
Okay, so you've traveled down the 500-foot cylindrical corridor, and you find yourself entering a far larger chamber than those you've been in before. This one you would put at around 400 feet in diameter. There are, in addition to where you came in, 3 exits from this chamber. There is one directly across from you, and then there are 2 more perpendicular. So it's essentially making a cross shape. The surface of the sphere is, as far as you can tell, is just normal worked stone. It's not the dark, almost black stone of the corridors, but more of just a normal gray, perhaps granite or something similar. But the surface is crisscrossed with metal bands of some sort. They appear to be mostly copper, things of that nature, maybe some brass or bronze, steel as well, that all lead to an object in the center, so basically perpendicular to the cross exits, a cylinder stretching across the entire chamber. So basically there's like a metal bar running through this entire chamber. And that's about 20 feet in diameter. There is definitely something odd about it. You would need to close in on the object to get a look at what it is. But you do see that there appears to be a battle going on in this chamber as well. But as with those ones that you've encountered previously, frozen in time completely.
So how many people have we got on each side here?
All right, so looking down at the group that's fighting, you can see two more of those blue creatures with six arms, six spindly arms, kind of an insect-like appearance. And they are both in the air. Flying towards them, basically, clearly flying at them, are two creatures that look very much like griffins, but almost have a porcelain appearance to them. They're very beautiful in their own way. Of the two figures, you can see that one of them is wearing a cloak, a black cloak, and he has a shimmering red metal disc on a belt. And streaking from his hands are 10 glowing red objects. And they are closer to him than the griffin-like creatures. Whether they're moving from him to the creatures or moving from the creatures to him, you can't tell.
Lafdul, can you tell what spell that is? If it's a spell.
Lever might be able to. So I'm
I'm
drawing a map.
still with the
Lever.
description and everything.
We're
Well,
trying to
if you
draw a
wanna-
map in the background, so we're being quiet.
If you want to look at the spells, you can roll a spellcraft check.
Okay, let's do that. Just a second.
Okay.
Snowdark, do those griffin creatures look like they're on your side?
Yes, they're my master's helots.
Right.
All right, Leva, those are definitely magic missiles.
Ah, okay.
Braxon's going to turn to Higgimus and say, I don't know how we're going to do it, but we need to find some way to do something so that when time resumes, we can disable all the enemies in all the rooms. Maybe try and tie ropes round where the enemy creatures are.
Put leaded weights on them. And put
Well,
shackles
as far as
on them.
I'm able to tell, we can't really move them or anything.
No, but
Possibly,
we can tie
yeah,
stuff
we can
around
wait them. Possibly. I'll turn towards the casters and be like, any ideas on that?
No, it would have to be physical restraints, not magical.
Yeah. I'm thinking if we get lots of ropes from the ship and
Yeah, just tie
have
them
the
up
crew.
and put a load of weights on them so they just get encumbered and temporarily disabled.
So whose side is does it look like the griffin-like creatures are on, and whose side is this person with the disc thing?
There's two creatures in the air, and it definitely looks like the griffin-like creatures are flying towards them. Considering that there's these glowing missiles in between them, you can guess pretty clearly that the two groups are opponents. And considering that the griffins are, according to Snowlark, her master's helots, they'd be on her side.
Okay.
On her master's side.
Right. So the discs, if they're going out,
upper hand. If we get the griffins off, I need some hairs from them.
They're not real griffins.
Oh, what a pity.
They're griffin-like creatures.
Okay.
yeah, they're helots.
The second of the creatures, he is pointing it is pointing a hand down across the chamber towards a group on the ground beyond it, and you can see from one of the hands from that hand that's pointing, it does have a ring of some sort. You can tell that just because these two are a lot closer to you, and they're also, other than that cloak that one is wearing and the belt, they're not wearing anything. So the fact that this one has a ring is pretty noticeable on that finger. A green light is projecting from one finger down into the group on the surface. You'd have to get in closer to see what's going on with that, however.
Leo goes closer. She wants to know what spell that is. Can she roll another
Disintegration.
spellcraft?
Okay. You travel. You come into the chamber and start walking along the surface. There is a path amidst all of these bands, and as you're now in the chamber, you can see that there's also some tubes and piping throughout the chamber. Closing in, you see that this green light is hitting a woman. She is wearing brown gold armor, but half of her is completely gone.
Ugh.
Seeing this, Snowlark gives out another wail at what is clearly going to be a death of one of her sisters. Basically, all that's remaining of this figure is a portion of her torso, one arm, which is holding a bow, and her legs.
Could I
Oof.
tell if the souls are, or the, if they're bound within the magic, or would they be separate entities from the magic? I.e., if they have died, even though the spell has been cast, are their souls still bound here, or are their souls moved on? Could I tell that?
No.
Make that distinction?
No, not without some sort of spell to detect spirits or something like that.
Are all these energy beams and everything solid?
No one's tried touching any of them.
Let me see what I don't care about.
We could put up.
I will touch not the energy beam, but one of those red globe things that was going towards the griffins.
Okay, those are pretty high up in the air.
Oh. The beam's probably touchable, isn't it? One sec.
Yeah, it is definitely touchable at the point where it's hitting the woman on the ground.
Definitely
Can we
not gonna touch it
see?
like
Can we see who's destroying the woman?
Yeah, it's one of the two things in the air. He's pointing a finger. There's a green beam from one finger to her.
You said about poles going up or something. Can
Well,
we climb up them to get to them?
No, they're not that high. There is a 20-foot cylinder crossing the entire chamber. but now that you're a bit closer, you also see beyond this woman who's getting who's half gone. There's a large billowing yellow-green cloud.
So that's like gas.
It's a cloud. I mean, it's pretty clearly a cloud. And within that are 6 human-sized figures, and they have porcelain-like skin, flesh, and they're clearly clutching their throats. While there's other larger creatures, humanoid creatures, and another griffin-type creature moving out of that cloud.
Right.
To the side of the cloud, you also see another woman, much like Snowlark. She's wearing brownish-black armor with gray highlights and a pair of fixed wings, much like Snowlark's when she's wearing her armor. And she is swinging a battle axe at what appears to be a 30-foot tall whirlwind, swirling around a 4th griffin. There are also, outside of the cloud, 4 more of the man-sized humanoids, and they've got bows, and they're firing. You know, they're clearly in the process of shooting arrows at the 2 blue-skinned flying figures. Finally, there are 2 more green-haired women. One of them is wearing reddish-black armor. She's using a military fork, and another with bright green armor and a long-weighted chain. And they're both being hit by something that you can't see. So those are all the figures that are in the chamber.
The cylinder, is it hollow?
That's impossible to say, but closing in now, as you've closed in to look at the this fight that's going on, you can see that the entire thing is covered in tubes and pipes and valves, and it looks like there's lightning arcing between sections. Some of it is also kind of spraying out, and you can see some steam venting from some portions. It looks on closer examination that there are cracks in this whole device.
Right. So Braxton's going to turn to Higgimus and say, I'm thinking we'll rig up some ropes to those women in the clouds and have people pull them out the cloud as soon as we can get them moving, and that might save them. Lafdul, do you know what that cloud is? Is it magical?
I know what it is, but I can't say because I don't have spellcraft. So
Would Levan know?
I think I know what it is, but I don't think Braxton does.
You can roll a spellcraft.
you've already
Yep, just a
cast that
second.
spell before.
Yeah, but the everything being frozen in time definitely makes things a bit more confusing.
Yeah, I don't generally look at them in detail as they are stuck in time. Okay,
Well,
never seen this.
yeah, no, you're pretty sure that's the second form of fog cloud.
Okay.
I'm going to take off my glove and
Does
use
the-
that kind of bat at what that green stuff is.
Are you gonna be holding the glove while you do that? Or are you gonna toss the glove?
I'm gonna toss the glove at it. That sounds better.
The glove hits it and disintegrates. Vanishes and leaves nothing but small motes of dust.
That's
I'll
not
look over to
fog.
Braxton and I'll be like, "Well, if you want to put the rope around him, you're gonna have to do it yourself."
Mm.
Isn't Lafdul
I almost killed my
asks-
character there.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say anything. I know it's the ray of disintegration, but
Yeah. How about the gas stuff? I'll take my other glove off and whap at that with the glove.
The glove kind of hits the billowing gas cloud
Gonna be like solid.
and falls to the ground. It does not enter it.
All right. Yep. That's what I was thinking. Good thing I didn't touch that ray.
Yeah, I knew the ray would be dodgy.
Lafdul's gonna ask.
So the cloud is currently solid.
Yeah.
Because it's frozen in time. Which is interesting because we're moving through the air, which is not frozen in time, but the gas is frozen in time.
It's
Right.
a different substance we can assume.
Oh, well, no, I understand this. So we'll need to have enough crewmen to lasso those women and pull them out of the cloud.
And also, can you tell if this cloud has reached its maximum range? Or if it's
Can
going
I?
to keep on expanding?
She's I mean, she knows that
Based
the
on
second form
all
of
your
the
spells.
second form of fog cloud, it moves slightly, but it does not expand. It
Oh.
fills its
Oh yes.
area of effect and doesn't like continue to expand. It's not like it starts out 10
Can we
feet
tell
and
if
gets larger to 20 feet kind of thing.
Alright, can we tell if the cloud is slightly thinner at one end and is slightly thicker at the other? That would indicate a direction.
No, doesn't. You can't tell that.
You said the women were clutching their throats.
They're not women. They actually appear to be androgynous. These are just human sized. They're not the women, the green-haired women.
Oh, they're not Lakshu?
No,
Right.
they appear to be more helots. They're the larger humanoids, the griffin creatures, and the smaller humanoids all have kind of a porcelain look to them.
Right, but didn't you say they looked like they were clutching their throats?
Yes, they are.
Right, so Braxon would say to Lever, are you sure that's a fog cloud if they're clutching their throats?
Oh, she's pretty sure. I mean, she'll say that it certainly looks like a fog cloud, like the second form of fog cloud. Maybe he's done something else to it. You know, I've never seen these creatures before, kind of thing. You know, she can give that kind of answer.
Lafdul will just say, it reminds me of the stuff she used on the Beholders, which was very lethal.
She's pretty sure that she has this right.
Very sure indeed. Yes. Just like Braxon when he fails his whole things.
I mean,
Full
she'll
repair.
basically be saying something along the lines of, you know, it's either that or something I haven't seen before.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we can't put the rope around these people. So, you said the tube thing in the center of the room.
Mhm.
There's steam and lightning
Mm-hmm.
or electricity. Is that moving?
No, it's not. It's all frozen in time.
All frozen there. Okay.
Right.
These are cracked here.
Lever is going to try and touch one of the people.
Outside of the cloud, I assume.
Yes,
Okay.
outside the cloud.
Go on the cloud, go on the cloud.
Psst.
All right. So one of the women, not the one
Yeah.
that's half gone. All right.
No, not the one that's half gone.
You move over towards them and you bump into something that you can't see. And you have to go around that to touch the women.
I'm interested in the invisible thing. Can I tell if it's humanoid?
It is very, very hard to say.
If Leva's bumped into something invisible, she'd stop. Before she would not go on to touch someone else, but she would actually stop and try to figure out what she bumped into.
Okay.
She'd say, "Hey, listen, come over here. There's something invisible here. It's like an invisible wall."
Well, it's definitely not an invisible wall, and it's not like flat surface. It's it
She'd
has
start touching it.
protrusions, and it is right in front of the two women.
So she definitely, since it didn't hurt her, she would try and figure out the shape of that thing that she bumped into.
It's very difficult to tell, given that you're just feeling it.
Is it humanoid? Does it have legs?
It's
Does it
about
have...
human height, but no, there's
There's no legs.
well, if there are, they're not. It's not humanoid. We'll put it that way.
So
There are a lot of odd protrusions and voids in this form.
where's Sten?
He is walking behind you slowly. I mean, like he's keeping up, but that's it.
So has he taken notice of that invisible thing that I bumped into?
He has not done anything as far as you can tell, other than walk behind you.
Okay.
Like not directly behind you. He's just like behind the group. As you know,
Okay.
if the group moves on from here, he will follow you. But he's not taking any interest or special interest in anything that's going on around here.
Mm-hmm. I think he would if there was something to be seen or acted upon.
Can we, like, draw a circle around that invisible thing on the floor, like, with some charcoal or something? So it's... Oh, actually, no, you can't have... You'd have to leave for something physical.
I don't have any charcoal with me, otherwise
No,
I think that's a good idea.
I don't think we can actually interact with anything other than leaving something on top. Like, if we left dust or something, we'd see that.
Can you cast fairy fire on it?
It wouldn't last very long.
Yeah, but we might see it.
Yeah,
We'll
but
see if there's
he
any...
might also want to save that for another time.
Yes, maybe.
We'll see if there's any more in the area. Any more invisible things.
Okay.
I will assist with that. I assume everyone else is gonna just within, like, I don't know, 40 yards of it, I guess. I think that's my range.
There are no other invisible things. I mean, like you'd have to do like a grid search kind of thing, holding your arms out, walking slowly. People putting their arms together to really test this kind of thing out. And that would take time and stuff like that. And if you're going to do something like that, Snowlark is probably going to get a little bit antsy.
Couldn't Braxon make his pole come out long and then just walk along, wait till it hits something, and then investigate the thing it's hit?
Well, but part of the problem is that there's a lot of odd metal objects sticking up out of the floor.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Braxton's going to say, I suggest we get a lay of the other rooms because I think there's quite clearly some people who already died, and there's some people who it looks like we can't save. But I think this is going to come down to if we can bring crew in and put ourselves in the right place, that we can turn the battle and stop people being killed. But we need to know what else is going on. So I think we need to explore the other rooms before this effect wears off.
Yeah, I think so too. I think this has probably been going on for a long time, but
Is there...
There probably is somebody around who is not affected by this spell, because somebody or something must have cast it. The effect.
It might even be the master that casts it to stop himself being killed. And
then
it
he
might
should be around.
Well, it might be if you had a choice between freezing yourself or dying, you might freeze yourself.
I have a feeling that they've been trapped in this frozen state since probably as long as Snowlark's been in that softwood. So for all we know, they've been stuck in here for like hundreds of years, maybe even more.
Yeah, I think you could be right.
And if you want crew members to do something, it might be better to like get them over here and start having them do something.
Yeah, all right. Fair enough.
Or if there's some other plan that you want to make.
Should we send Yeldan back to bring some crew over?
I mean, are you going to continue exploring while that's happening?
Yeah, I think we need to continue exploring.
Yeah, I think we need to continue exploring.
Okay,
But,
so you want him to go back and get crew. Well, I mean, because you'll need to direct the crew to do something.
Yeah, well, we want the crew to be prepared to attack and disable the bad creatures.
Okay, so you want
wh-
Yeldan to go back and start getting crew into the rooms and just have them, like, armed and ready?
Yeah, well, I think they should be... I think also if we can get ropes around the bad guys, and if we can't touch them, but if we can get the ropes around them, we could maybe pull the ropes tight.
Well, Leva was going to go touch one of the women, but she got distracted by the invisible thing. Do you still want to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
When we finish with the... Yeah.
So you move around the invisible objects, and they're literally right in front of these women. And from your exploration of the invisible objects, there's clearly contact between the invisible objects and these women who are, they look like they're being hit by something. So they're flinching, they're reeling back, that kind of thing. Do you want to touch their flesh?
Yes. No, at first I want to touch their clothes.
Okay. The clothes feel stiff and, like stiff as steel.
Now I want to touch their flesh.
Hard as a rock. You can, like, normally, flesh has give to it. Their flesh right now does not.
So how much flesh can I actually touch? Is there are their arms bare, or is there something?
So like Snowlark, the armor forms basically like knee-high boots, armored skirts, breastplates with large pauldrons, and they have bracers. So upper thighs, upper arms, neck, and face. They have helmets, but they're not like full helmets.
Okay, so what Leva would like to do is keep a hand on an upper arm and see whether it warms up a bit, whether it softens a bit when she keeps her hand on it.
It does not, and they don't feel cold, but they also don't feel warm. So, like, temperature is neutral. You don't really feel a temperature difference between them and the air around.
Can I move them?
No. Like, push with all your might, nothing. You can't even like move a finger. They're like stone, as far as you could tell.
Okay.
Well, if it wasn't for the fact I'd be worried about breaking the spell, I'd be quite tempted to chop the head off one of the bad guys.
Good luck. You'd probably break a weapon.
Yeah, I might break the weapon.
We've hit these things before, trying to move them and such, and everything just glides off of it.
I think we keep going. I mean, we might be able to, if I don't know, if there were heavy objects here, we could balance really heavy objects on the heads of all the bad guys.
It'd be really hard to balance. So again, like they're very spindly. They're about 5 feet tall, give or take. They seem to have features of both insects and reptiles. So like their arms look very reptilian, but their arms look very insect-like. Very thin joints rather than just like skin over it. So like almost like an exoskeleton, but their torsos are more scaled, and their feet are a little bit broader than you might expect, and a little bit more reptilian, and they have large eyes, but they're not multifaceted.
Right.
Compound eyes. They're not compound eyes. They don't appear to have mouths, as far as you can tell.
I think we should move on. This is
Yeah, let's move
another
to the
room.
next room.
Was there any thing besides that ring out of the ordinary beyond?
The other one has a cloak, which seems
Other one has
weird
a
because they're
cloak.
not wearing. I mean, they're not really wearing any other things other than a belt.
Is there any symbols or anything like that on them?
No, on them, no. The cloak has a bone neck clasp, a white claw clasp.
No, beyond that, no identifying markers.
Not that you can see, no.
Okay.
They don't
And the
appear to
ring
be.
is just a ring.
The ring. It's got a red stone in it, and the ring itself is kind of a reddish gold. Otherwise, there doesn't appear to be anything special or unusual.
Yeah, I'm guessing the ring doesn't slide off. Can't be moved off the finger.
No.
No. Okay. There might be an item, I'll say to everybody, that is causing this stasis too. So keep an eye out for something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking there's something causing it, but if we found what was causing it, I wouldn't.
Well, it might
Disable
be,
it.
and I'll point towards this tube. It might be something to do with that. If we can figure out where the central hub of that thing is, or figure out if that is the central hub for this. The big cracks and steam and lightning thing coming out of that seems plausible.
They're not big cracks, they're actually pretty fine cracks, which is why it took you getting in close to tell them. But when you're in close, you can see that they're all over it. So there were basically 3 other exits from this chamber besides the one that you came in.
All right. Let's go. Pick one and go down it.
Did you want to go in the one straight across from where you came in, or one of the perpendicular ones?
Let's try a perpendicular.
All right, Braxon is trying to think about what these creatures might be. He has heard of insect-like creatures called bionoids. Whether that's what these are, he's not sure. But he's heard of these creatures. He's heard of creatures called bionoids, and he's kind of wondering if maybe they're them. But he doesn't know a whole lot about them. He just knows that they kind of like have a insect-like appearance to them. All right, so coming in, you had the one across and the 2 perpendicular. Do you want to take perpendicular when you came in, the left or right?
Right.
Okay. So you travel along the inner surface of the sphere and get to the pathway out, the corridor out. Travel down it. It is about 300 feet long. And you find yourself back in the large garden chamber. Now, one thing that I did realize, I misdescribed the room. Actually, rather than the plants being things that you're familiar with, nothing in the chamber is familiar to you. They're all very unusual colors.
Right.
Including some that you would say are unnatural. Like pastels and vivid shades. Fluorescent and neon shades and stuff like that. Sorry about getting that wrong. I wrote it down somewhere and I missed that part. So, what was that, Leva?
Would herbalism help?
No.
Okay. Alchemy?
No.
Hmm.
Alchemy, you'd have to actually like work with the stuff.
Okay.
Well, if we get a chance, we could take samples of them all. Might
So
be
you-
things we can sell.
So you find yourself back in that chamber. I mean, you
All
could
right,
always mess
head
with the
double
try
back.
messing with the creatures that are in here as long as you're in here if you wanted.
Well, I guess we can if we want to. But if they're just like everything else, where it's like solid, unless they're running around. Are they running
No,
around?
they're not moving. But at
Okay.
the same time, I mean, you can touch them. You've been able to touch things.
Are there
Alright,
any
you just
loose
can't move
objects here that are heavy?
None of the loose objects you've been able to move,
Right.
and nothing that looks like it should be a loose object you've been able to move. Like
Is there any water in
barrels
this
of
room?
prints. There is, but it's frozen. I mean, not like ice, but stopped. It doesn't move.
Yeah.
Is the water flat?
No, there's a fountain, and it's moving.
Is there?
I mean, it's like clearly
there
frozen in movement.
All right, no, that's what I wanted. All right, is there like a sprinkle of water that is separate enough from the rest of the body of water? Like a droplet of water?
There is I mean, so there's a fountain, so there is water spray coming off of that.
Because I want to encompass that droplet of water within my bag of holding. My pouch of accessibility. Putting it in another dimension, essentially.
Oh.
A tiny drop of water. I want to see if it breaks it. But there's no way for me to tell because it's just a drop of water.
What, your bag of holding? You want to see if
Pouch
it
of
breaks?
accessibility.
Okay.
It's not going to break it.
So you are you sure it won't break it? You take off your pouch and open it up and try to
Can I access one of my vials within the pouch? So basically, I would be trying to put that droplet of water within the vial within the pouch.
yeah, you can try that.
Yeah, that's what essentially want to do.
Okay. You move your pouch close to the water, and when you try to encompass the bit of water spray in the pouch, you're stopped.
Oh.
It-
Yeah.
Doesn't work. It like the water frozen
It's
in
like
the
a
air
solid
will not
object.
go into. It's like the entrance to your pouch is a solid object bumping up against this.
Yeah, the magical fit. That's what I thought it would be. That's what I thought would happen. Oh well.
Okay. So you're back here. Did you want me to re-describe what was going on in here, or do you guys remember that? Or remember it enough?
I wanna. I know what I want to do, but
Say it. I mean, if you have an idea of something you can do,
no, it's not so much an idea of doing. It's more of an idea of I want to go room by room and draw them up.
Yeah.
I would like to double back to the room we were in and take the other path that we did not take.
there are two
Yeah,
other paths
same
out
here.
of that.
Mm-hmm.
Same.
How
here.
many paths in total were in that last room?
The very,
It's a
very large one,
crossroads.
there were
Yes.
4.
Oh, okay.
So we've got 2 paths to go down, and we've got another.
A downside,
I would like to figure out where they go.
Yeah. Sorry, you see. I have a problem with this, Higgimus. You're exploring, but you're not keeping track of where you're exploring.
Hmm?
So how do we make progress?
We've been round the circle, and we found the 2 paths that we've explored from that room with the crossroads. Both lead to the circle. So we've got 2 paths that lead somewhere we've not been before.
Yep.
Everywhere else is a room we've already been in.
All right,
So
just go.
we've got
I'm
3 rooms
lost
around
this.
the outside of the circle, and then 2 of those, one of those connects to the central chamber where our ship is. The other 2 connect into this crossroads, and we've got 2 branches coming out. One of those rooms might have things unfreezing the whole complex.
Yeah, so let's check out the other 2, see where they go.
Yeah, but if you
Or other
if
3.
you had plans on doing something to these creatures and you unfreeze the complex, then your plans to to do things to these things are going to go up in smoke.
All right. Well, has Yeldan brought any of our crew over yet?
I was not actually sure if you were actually sending them back. I did ask for a confirmation on that and kind of got a not clear answer, in part because you're asking him to bring crew and not like telling them to do anything.
Yeah, I said get them ready to tie people up or kill them or something.
While the rest of you were off exploring, so they'd just be in here standing around.
Right. Well,
and
let's
you
go
wouldn't
back to the
necessarily
original
even
room.
know where they were.
Well, we just go back to the original room. They'd be in there.
So
They're not
you
in
want
the
to
room we went to.
okay. So to be clear, you want Yeldan to go back and bring crew to that very large room, while you go continue off exploring. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
We want lots of crew.
All right.
How many foes have we?
I'm not sure that's a good idea, by the way. If we go around in circles, we all always end up at the same place. Maybe we do not end up at the same place, and we lose our crew. And then what?
We'll leave Yeldan with them.
Well, then we lost Yeldan as well. Then what?
It'll be fine.
Okay.
Well, what I would like is that if we're going to have all the crew in all these rooms, like tackling all these people, then there needs to be like an overwhelming amount ready to tackle these things, because
otherwise
these things have powerful spell abilities, as we can see.
Most of them have been flying too, so it's kind of hard to tackle them.
Yeah, so it's going to be ropes and lassoed these things, and ready to pull it tight, like some sort of a slip knot. I don't know if the crew knows how to do. They should know how to do stuff like that.
They know how to do knots. They're sailors.
Yeah. So it have to be something along that lines.
Yeah.
So if you want to start having them, if we want to go back to the original room where we entered into this complex with, and then direct a crew to each of these rooms where we're at to have them do that, then let's do that. Get that done.
Levatouch one on the left shoe. Has Behemoth got his flying gear with him?
He does, although James just had to step away for a moment.
Right. Because if we fly up to the flying creatures, we can maybe tie ropes around them while they're in mid-frozen.
Yeah, but keep in mind that his flying stuff does not let him just like hover in the air.
That's true.
Okay,
all right. Well, Braxon's got a ladder with him. We could just climb up the ladder.
Do you want Yeldan to go back and get crew? And if so, how many crew
definitely.
And where do you want them?
Where are there the most enemies?
Well, there's enemies in this large chamber, and there were enemies in the garden chamber as well.
Yeah. So we'll want lots
similar
of crew
number in each.
Yeah.
Okay, so how many of these insect-like creatures have we seen so far?
4.
4?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do 5 per creature that we've seen so far. 5 crew per creature we've seen so far. And then have each of the crew have like a rope tied as best as they can to these creatures. So that would like go around their torsos and arms. And
so you want 10 crew in each room?
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be about right, yeah.
Have we got more than that?
I mean, you've got, like, what, 80-some, 70-some crew?
We should bring more. We should overwhelm them.
Well, I was thinking like 5 each.
Right, so 10 in the big room, 10 in the not as big room.
Yeah.
Where do you want Yeldan to be?
Let's bring a gift with each of them, too. So 4 gift and 10...
Wait.
20 crew.
You said bring a Giff with them, and then you said 4 Giff. What do you? I'm not sure what you
Oh,
mean.
sorry. I was thinking overall. So a gift for each of those groups of guards. So 5
so-
regular people and then a gift.
All right. So in each of the room, you want 2 Giff and 10 crew members.
Correct.
Which of the rooms do you want Yeldan to be directing crew in?
That big room so far. That may change depending on where the big fights are.
Okay. So he goes off to get crew to come to those chambers and bring ropes. What are you going to do then?
Then
think-
we go back to that chamber with the light and stuff and explore further to the other room.
Okay. So back in there, you have the 2 pathways. You have the one that you've kind of there was the one that was straight across, and then you had the 2 that you arbitrarily kind of dictated. One was right, one was left. You went down the right one. So you have
All right,
left.
let's go the
and straight.
one straight ahead then. In this
Okay.
case.
All right. That takes you into another corridor, cylindrical corridor, about 260 feet long, and completely straight, as all of them have been. You end up in a much smaller chamber than the last one that you were in. Well, I scroll to my room description. Hold on just a second. Okay, so this chamber is about 100 feet in diameter, spherical as all the chambers have been, and there is one exit other than the one that you came in, and that one is at a right angle from where you enter. The chamber itself, you've got freestanding tables, shelves, that sort of thing. Many tables and shelves, and they are filled with boxes, jars, bottles. The tables are covered in beakers, burners, mortars and pestles, tubes, alembics, all that sort of thing. It's pretty clearly a laboratory of some sort.
Braxon's going to try picking up a beaker just to see if he can move it.
And you cannot.
Right.
It doesn't look like any of them are like in actively in an experiment or anything like that. So there's none of the burners are on, and none of the things on the tables are filled with liquids or anything like that. Everything seems to be pretty neat and sorted out and stored. But Leva would definitely recognize it as a laboratory.
Definitely a laboratory, yes.
All right, I'll look over everything. Is there anything of particular note that stands out?
Not really. And nothing appears to be movable. There are a few sheets of paper out with notes scrawled on them, but they're not in a language any of you can read.
Be replenished a little bit before.
Whoa. Was
Sorry.
All right, you got your sounds fixed? Okay. So there's some sheets of paper out, nothing on there that you can make heads or tails of.
All right, I'll look over to the spellcasters and I'll say, "Can any of you read this stuff here?"
No.
Can we?
No.
Okay. In that case, no.
I didn't know if you had a magical means of being able to read that stuff.
I
I mean, they're not in languages any of you know how to read. I'll put it that way. By proficiency.
comprehend languages.
Do you have that memorized?
Yes.
Do you want to cast it?
Yes.
All right. So you cast comprehend languages, and The notes that are out are pretty clearly scribbled notes. Casting the spell does not reveal what language they're in, but it does allow you to understand them. And what you can kind of piece together from the bits of notes is that they appear to be magical research notes on elemental magic, and also on getting large objects to move.
Getting large objects to move.
Yeah.
I pass that on to the others.
Okay. Was hoping for a little bit more.
They're pretty. I mean, part of the problem that she's having is that they're clearly magical research notes, but since she can't move the sheets of paper, there are things on them. She's not getting full descriptors of things. It's she understands it a bit more than she would explain, but it's mostly magical theories, high level concepts on getting large objects to move and stay moving, and the use of elemental magic in a variety of applications.
I understand that. I was hoping for these are the bad guys. This is why they're attacking us. This is the master plan. This is how to solve the puzzle. All right, so let's. What are
Let's
the
go on.
Let's. What are the pathways out of this room?
There's only the one pathway out that was at a right angle.
Just a second. Zakat, has one of us cast detect magic? So we're up to now?
I think you guys cast.
I cast it earlier. But
I forget what were the results.
Not the overwhelm. Well, I never got a school of magic or sphere.
Because I'm thinking of casting my own detect magic in this lab.
No, you can do it if you want. I've already used mine, so you'll get the overwhelming magic of the stasis. So it'll be very hard to pinpoint anything. I was struggling to find anything else out.
Yes, you're right. I'll wait then.
Okay.
Oh!
Mm-hmm.
Just a second, but I don't have that memorized. No,
don't have it memorized.
I was thinking of no, I don't have it memorized. I was thinking of casting dispel magic in the lab.
Okay.
I've got dispel magic.
Could you cast it?
Problem is, I don't know if it'll dispel the stasis, the entire thing.
Well, that would be a test, you see.
Yeah, we're prepared to fight anything off. That's why I'm not casting it.
Let's have all our crew ready before we cast.
Yeah, I'm not going to cast it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's only the one other exit besides the way that you came in.
Let's take that then.
Okay.
I hate this map. It's on a grid. I'm trying to draw a map at the bottom left and try and drawing legend. I can't push anything into the right area.
Do you want me to bring you onto another just plain...
It doesn't matter. I'm just messing around with drawing a map, and people can add to it based on what they think they know.
Okay.
If you look at the bottom left of this screen here.
Yeah, I hadn't noticed that you were doing that down there.
Mm-hmm.
I see that. So
it might be good with a plain empty background, so we could use the whole space.
Is that what everyone wants me to do?
There's no point us being on the ship, but that means I've got to giganticize this.
I don't think it's
not
like
too
that.
big, because otherwise you I think the Roll20 template is not that big.
Because I don't know if I've got enough room for anything. I've got no idea if It's hard to know how many times a room keeps on going in one direction.
I don't think it's like that.
You think they're bent in angles, even though they appear straight?
You don't have a black map.
Yeah, hold on a
No,
second.
it's all black. Nice.
Yeah, well, that's because I still have the Fog of War. I need to. Those are the defaults. There you go. Plain white.
Thank you.
I turned off the grid, so you can do what you want.
Hmm.
Do you want
Would
me
you
to,
mind
do you
do you want me to copy that
copying
over
this
thing? Yeah, all right. Hold on a second.
Okay. I'm going to use top right.
And I could redraw it in Paint. It's easy enough. I mean, copy it from what I've been drawing in Paint.
There you go.
See, I think I need to remake this bigger circle much bigger. I don't think it's big
Well, you could
enough.
ignore the bigger circle.
Oh.
You know, it doesn't need to be to scale. It just needs to have everything on it, so we know where we get to when we take which
I
exit.
can't even select anything to delete anything anymore anyway.
If you look at the top right, you'll see what I think we've got.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want me to delete the outer circle?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's up to you. If you want me to delete it, I'll delete it. If you don't, I won't.
Yeah, delete the outer circle.
Okay.
Don't need it.
There you go.
What do you think of my little sketch on the top right?
It looks like a malformed braid.
What do
See?
you call that? Twisty bread that looks like a braid?
Yeah.
Yes. Or it could be a cauldron with a
Right.
mouse falling
So-
into it.
So let me take you through this. So this one is the room where we came in, and then we have this circle where we went round, and then we've got 2 corridors off of that circle that don't lead back to where we were, and they
There's
both
already
lead to
They
the
were-
central
I thought
chamber.
they were straight.
The Braxon.
Yeah, but
said they were straight.
Yeah, they're straight, but
perpendicular.
well, it doesn't matter. It just matters where they go to.
What do you mean it doesn't matter? If we are told something is straight, then I would think it matters. Otherwise, we wouldn't be told that. Don't you think so?
Well, that's what I'm saying. We've been to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rooms. That's it.
It still looks like a cauldron with a mouse. That's
Okay,
head
I'm
first
just
in
saying there's 5 rooms. That's the 5 rooms. This
Okay.
is the original room we came into. And then there's one of these 2 rooms that's got a battle in. I can't remember which. One of those is the ones with the plants in. Both those rooms lead off to this square room with the lightning thing in. And then we have one of those other routes leads off to the laboratory that we're in at the moment.
And which ones would lead straight around?
The big circle is the thing at the top. So this is where our ship is. And then that's the room where we came in, and then we went round in a circle around these rooms.
Oh, so for you, the dots are the rooms.
The
Yeah.
dots are the rooms, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm making nodes and routes.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me is I did it on the edge because I didn't want to mess up what
No, you can do it if you
Lafdul
want.
was doing. So I'm just wondering the lab we're in, will that other exit from the lab lead back to the place we just came from? In which case I'd join that other line up with the lab, or will it lead somewhere else? So should we push on and find out where it leads to?
I think so.
Okay.
That's what I'm pushing for.
Yeah, let's push on then.
So you travel down another straight cylindrical corridor. As with all these corridors and in even all the chambers, you can walk on any surface, and it's very disorienting. Keep that in mind. So the fact that you're doing this, you kind of all feel like you get a little bit of a headache. It's messing with your mind and it's messing with your stomach. You're feeling a little bit queasy.
So Lafdul wouldn't deliberately be walking on the ceiling then.
Oh, Lafdul will be walking upside down from you. Just because he can.
Of course, what that probably means is then, anyone who's like, oh, if Lafdul's up there, I'm going to do that. And then you just end up spiraling. Rather than walking straight, you're spiraling down the corridors, which does make for an interesting experience. So this hallway is 120 feet long, and you come out into another 100-foot diameter spherical chamber. This one also has a battle raging in it, and in addition to the way that you came in, there are 4 other entrances. So there's a total of 5 into this sphere.
So this isn't the one we just came from.
It is definitely not, because the one that you just came from before was 400 feet in diameter. This one is 100 feet in diameter, like the laboratory you just left.
Right.
So the 4 other entrances from where you come in, they're at the cardinal points from you, and then one is perpendicular, based on where you came in. You can see so basically you've got a big empty floor opposite that perpendicular one, that perpendicular entrance, and that is has a number of bunks, beds, some privacy curtains, but they've been smashed apart, and a lot of that is on fire, because amongst all of that you see an 8-foot tall sheet of flame with 2 lash-like pseudopods, and it's currently striking at a centaurine figure that, like the others, has kind of a porcelain appearance to its skin, but more of a triangular head with some horns. And there's another one standing next to it. They're wielding weapons, getting ready to, strike at this sheet of flame. Behind the sheet of flame, opposite these 2 centaur-like creatures, you see another of the 6-armed, blue-skinned humanoids. This one is not in the air. It has a shimmering orange disc on a belt, and you see a gold-braided ring with a large Cabochon stone, green Cabochon stone on one of the fingers. Besides those figures, you also see a group of 6 more of the human-sized, the man-sized figures that appear to be being smashed or punched by something that you can't see. And there are also 4 more of the Lakshu, basically rushing towards this group, weapons getting ready to engage in battle. One of the women has pale whitish-gray armor with a pair of daggers. The second has black armor with fixed wings, and she's using a bardiche. Third has purplish-black armor, and there's a pair of odd projections coming up from her back and forward, and she's wielding a flail. And the fourth wears brownish-red armor and carries what almost looks like a sling, but it appears to be metallic.
That's what we think might be allied to what's her name's master.
Yeah,
right?
I mean they. Other than the fact that every single one of the women has different hairstyles, different tattoos, and stuff like that, they all look very, very similar.
What about the centaur-like creatures? Are they on?
Well, they're getting struck by a fire thing.
And he said they're made out of that same stone-like look to them,
Porcelain.
right?
Yeah, porcelain.
Porcelain. Yeah. So yeah,
are
those.
they more helots?
Yes.
Snowlark will confirm that those are indeed helots.
Okay, so if they look like they're made out of porcelain, they're helots. If they look like Snowlark, then they are like her.
Lakshu.
Yeah.
Lakshu. And
But
the
we've
bug
got
things are bad. The elementals are bad. These elemental things are obviously being controlled by the bug things.
So that might be air elementals and a fire elemental.
Yeah.
So maybe
I'll look at the caster and be like, do you know anything in particular about how to get rid of these elemental things? It's magical stuff. You guys know
Oh,
magic
man.
stuff.
I need to pour some water over the fire elements and see what happens.
Yeah, you got that magical water summoning thing.
Nothing's
I
going to
think
happen to him. I don't know why you guys aren't getting this, but like everything
I
in
know
here
nothing will
is in
happen to them.
stasis.
I was
No, no,
being
no, no,
Cannot
I
be
was having a
interacted
joke.
with.
No, what I'm getting at is when they unfreeze, you could be here to throw the water on them immediately.
Or I'm going to be where the big issue is. I
Yeah.
could be here. All right.
Yeah, well, we don't know everything yet. All right, should we
All
push
right.
on?
Yeah. Yeah, we need to let Yeldan know that there's another one. There's just one more in here, right? One more of those bug things in here.
Yeah. Do you want Viradra to go meet up with them?
Yeah, and let them know so they can bring in more crew. Similar pattern as before. Also, bring in. There is a water, or you said there's two of the fire things in here.
Just one. There's a sheet of flame.
Huge flame, and that's the only elemental looking thing in here, right?
Something's being. Some people are being battered by something you can't see.
Yeah.
Okay. Bring some barrels of water, I guess.
Okay.
In addition to the normal ropes, and be prepared to kick them over onto the fire elemental thing.
All right. So Viradra heads off. You want her to get 10 crew and 2 Giff in this chamber as well?
Yeah.
How many? Do we have enough crew?
I mean, you got enough crew for this. You got a full complement of crew.
You're wow.
I mean, it depends on whether they survive or not. That's the question.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't think they'll survive. In all honesty, and not only I don't want to be pessimistic, but I also don't. Obviously, you're preparing for combat to ensue, or you preparing just in case it happens. Because I'm not really ready for combat.
Yeah. Well, just in case it happens.
Yeah.
I'll ask Snowlark.
Mhm.
What is a symbol or phrase that they can say to your compatriots so that they know if everything gets unfrozen, they can know that our crew are not the bad guys, quote unquote.
I just had a thought.
She instructs you to speak a phrase that you have no idea what it means, although you do recognize in that the name Javos,
Okay.
which is her master. So
Friends of Javos.
you'd guess it's something in either his language or their language.
Okay.
Pause. I just had a thought.
Pass them on the crew.
How long would it take for Braxon and some of the crew to bring over wood and build boxes around these creatures?
Way too long.
I mean, you'd
We've run out
probably
of
be
food.
looking at least a full day. I mean, if you're just building a box around them, but that is going to
you
use a
can't
lot of
affix
the
box.
material that you have
No.
for repairing your ship.
Yeah.
You can't affix anything to the floor. It will just bounce off.
Yeah, I know, but like if we build a box around them, they can't. They need to fight their way out the box, and we could be killing them while they're fighting their way out the box.
Oh no, I get that. It's like putting a basket over an NPC in Skyrim and stealing right in front of them. Oh, I asked Snowlark if you can see in the dark. Does she have information?
She says she cannot.
Oh, it's unfortunate.
So we can touch the bad guys. I think we can tie them.
Yeah, but you can't. Well, you'd be tying them around as if they had a sheet of something around them, no magical force. So when the magical force disappears, it's going to be slightly slack.
That's true.
So, Lafdul, you said that you're not prepared for combat?
Well, no, I've got combat spells, but
I mean, if you want to advocate for getting some stuff ready and getting some more rest, kind of thing, change your spells up.
no. My assumption is that Higgimus is just preparing for a potential combat rather than assuming that combat is going to take place.
Yeah, Braxon's all
I understand.
okay.
All right. I just
Wait.
want to. I mean, don't feel that you can't advocate because other people want to push on. If you really feel that
Oh
it's
no,
important to not push on yet.
I will say to Higgimus that I've got no way of healing anyone other than potions. I've got some combat spells, but it's like a couple.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Did you not prepare for combat when we came into this obviously combat area?
I took some combat spells. I also took stuff like Dispel Magic, Hold Poison, Find Traps, utility spells that are quite useful for dungeoneering, not necessarily combat.
Are your arms broken?
No.
You can swing a sword, right? Shoot a bow.
That's what you're for. I'd stay at the back and I wiggle my fingers ominously.
Well, just wiggle them harder, I guess. Make do with what we have.
Lafdul wiggles his fingers at Higgimus.
Well, if we prepare for stuff and things don't unfreeze straight away, we can spend more time preparing.
Yeah.
The more time we've got to prepare, the more we can get done. And I'm figuring this is a puzzle, and we still haven't seen all the rooms. We can, if we work out the logic for every fight that's going on, we can save as many people as possible.
Yeah, so let's continue on.
Okay, so you had 4 other exits from this chamber. Basically, one straight across, 2 that you would arbitrarily designate left and right. Lafdul would probably try to confuse you by saying that the right one was the left one, etc. And then 1 perpendicular, which is essentially directly opposite the fighting.
All right, which way do you guys think? I'm thinking the perpendicular one's interesting.
Leva actually wants to stay. She's with Lafdul. You're not going to try and have her wield the sword, are you?
No.
No.
So what are you going to do if she just stands around being useless because she can't wiggle her fingers? Because she used up her spells?
You have a sling.
You have a sling.
You have a wand?
Suddenly, Ockar.
You have scrolls.
You know what? Levi's going to sit down. You go ahead.
We're only exploring.
We're only exploring right now.
So? What do you do if you run into something that's going to kill you?
I'll
Wouldn't be the
stab it
first
with my
time.
sword.
Have you not prepared any combat spells either?
Practically none. I do have 1 magic missiles, yes. I have the Duomer, so I can certainly make a wild surge.
Well,
I would suggest that if we find any object that looks like it might end the stasis, we don't touch it or use it. And that we explore the area, and that we think about what strategy, including you two learning your spells, we think about what strategy we can use to save as many people as possible.
That's what I assume is happening, because that's what I'm just following. I'm not
proposing to unfreeze everyone to fight them. I'm just thinking, we've got to find a way to deal with the bad guys.
Unless we can systematically unfreeze room by room by room, there's no way we can fight all these. Even we'll just be destroyed utterly.
Yeah.
There's too many high-level casters. Well beyond me and Leva.
Yeah.
So...
But what if they've used up most of their high-level spells?
How?
I mean, they're all in combat.
Yeah.
They're going to use a lot of their spells up.
Okay, should we go from one to the other and ask, have you used up most of your high level spells?
No.
Yes,
The ma-
yes. Then we are not going to. Then we're going to unfreeze you. No, okay. We'll leave you frozen.
That's not what I meant. I meant, what if they had? I mean, we had no way of actually knowing, but if they had, then we could take them all out.
I mean, we might even get to a situation where we go through this whole thing and there is no way to unfreeze them too. There's that.
Yeah.
It's my mistake. I was assuming, which is making a bleep of you and me, that since we were heading into a combat situation or area, that the casters would have had like some sort of
Well, we
spells
got
reserved
some,
for that.
not
We
many.
did
That,
discuss
that, like I said, that was my assumption. I apologize for making that assumption.
We did
But we can
just come
still
out of
explore
the
everything that we have from this point on.
Yeah, I'm fine with exploring. Just do whatever you can to not initiate combat, that's all.
Yeah.
So, Leva, are you gonna continue on, or are you gonna sit down?
She should come with us, Lafdul would say.
Yeah,
Well-
okay, I'll come with.
If Lever sits down, then when we come back to this room, we'll know what room it is.
I mean, you know what room it is because of the stuff that's going on in it.
Yeah.
We can drop something like a tissue or something.
Well, I mean, there's a fight
Markers in
frozen in time. Creatures getting lashed by an 8-foot-high sheet of flame. It might be kind of a landmark.
You think so? I proposed to Braxon that he should actually lay a trail of breadcrumbs.
What?
Well,
Waste
I
of
did
bread.
bring a loaf of bread with me, but that's a good idea.
So if the party is going out of the perpendicular exit, which I believe Higgimus said expressed interest in, Leva, are you going to accompany them?
Oh, do we have
Yeah, I
anything like
guess so.
shackles, Chip?
Shackles?
Yeah,
Not with you.
on our ship.
What for?
So that we chain up all the people that are spellcast.
Yeah, that's
So,
not a
so that
terrible
when they
idea,
become
actually.
unfrozen, they're chained up. We won't
I'm
be able to.
pretty sure-
If their hands are apart, we won't be able to chain them close together. But
You could use a rope and make it so they tied together in a way that they can't use their hands properly. So
yeah,
tie their hands behind their backs, so when they make a movement,
can't-
they
we can't
they
move them.
can't.
we can't move them. We can tie
No,
them in place.
no. But when they are unfrozen and they move their hands, they feel themselves hindered by the ties, by the tied hands.
Yeah.
So the way that explained to all to have the ropes tied so that these people could be lassoed if things were to go unfreeze is the way I explained it.
Right.
And that's probably
I was-
going to be about closest you can get to that, maybe.
I wasn't even going that far. I was proposing, you see, if you tie their hands together and go by their backs, if they need to wiggle their hands or their fingers to do something, then when they're unfrozen and they move one hand and then they immediately pull the other hand, this will probably interrupt their spells. Wouldn't it, Old?
We can't move.
Maybe. No, she's
We
not.
don't
She's
need
not.
to.
Yeah, she's not proposing moving, like tying the pulling the arms behind their back. She's proposing running the rope behind their back.
Yes.
Right.
So if let's say one of the spellcasters then raises the right hand, and once they're unfrozen, their left hand is being pulled behind their back at that particular point, not before that.
And we could do that with their feet as well.
Well, I don't know.
So we could tie
Generally,
both their feet to a rope that goes from their one hand to the other hand, so that they've got a knot behind them that makes them stumble over.
Yeah, something like that. Something that would definitely interrupt their spells. We could do that. Do we have enough rope for that?
You got tons of rope on the ship.
Okay.
So let's
We
get them
we
so
could
they're
put a
all.
noose on each one.
why do you just have a crew member next to the caster? Generally, casters are very weak to being people slashing at them at point blank anyway.
Most of them are in the air.
They're
Yeah.
flying. But the flying ones, we can climb up and we can tie them up.
You just tie a rope onto the mage that's in midair. Get a crewmate.
Yes, we're tying them up. All right, hold on.
Yeah, that's what
People, come on.
Higgimus
We're doing that. We're tying them up.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying
We
to
don't
do.
need to get
didn't
super
understand.
complicated in this.
Although super complicated could be of a benefit.
Well,
Oh
let's
my
listen
God.
to
Well, let me know
Lafdul.
when
but
you're
if we
gonna-
go super complicated,
This
we'll
is getting
be stuck here
ridiculous now.
discussing this for an hour.
All right, just go.
I mean, if it saves
whatever.
people's lives.
Yeah.
All right, discuss it for.
Even all-
Just let me know when you guys are done.
I'm not going to argue. Just go.
This is getting to be too much.
Yes, it is.
Let's just send a message back to tell the crew to start doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tell them to start tying
Varadra
people
goes
up.
back. Yeah, Varadra goes. She'll be getting some crew into this room. So you're going to go into the perpendicular chamber.
Yeah.
I would like to.
All right. You cross over to that corridor and travel down it. It's about 100 feet long, and you find yourself back in the extremely large chamber with that metal tube crossing the entire chamber.
We're back at the entrance?
No, not the entrance.
No.
The very large chamber with the metal tube covered in frozen lightning.
Oh,
This
okay.
is the one that we subjectively called left, right? From before.
No, I mean this is you went perpendicular. You're back in the big chamber.
Yeah, what I meant was from before.
Oh
when,
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So
So
that
let's
leaves
go
us-
back into the room that we were prior and choose a different way.
That leaves us 3 unexplored routes.
All right, let's go back in the one we were before.
Mhm.
So the perpendicular is out. We've already been there. Which ways have we not gone yet on this one?
So you came in and there were cardinal directions, so one straight across and then 2 to either side.
Do you want to go straight across or do an either side one?
I don't mind.
Okay, let's go straight across.
Okay. So you make your way to the corridor that was straight across from when you first entered this chamber. Travel down a straight corridor that's, you'd estimate about 120 feet long, and enter a small, or much smaller chamber than the other ones you've been in. This one is about 50 feet in diameter. There's only the one entrance the way that you came in, and you see a variety of comfortable furnishings. You see a large, very large bed, big table, chest of drawers, things like that. However, none of the furniture is... You can recognize the function, but none of them are in a style that you've seen before. The furniture is all very strange to you. The table, the big table, appears to basically be a broad cone, just a pure cone balanced on the tiniest point. And somehow, I mean, the fact that it's like this, you expect that if time unfreezes, you would expect it to still stay up. You have no idea how that works. The chairs surrounding it only have 2 legs right in the front. How they manage to stay up, you don't know either. But despite all the strangeness, it all works extremely well together, and overall makes for a very unusual but almost a piece of art as the all together. You had a question, Braxon?
No. I was just going to say, Braxton, push the bed down, see if it moves, but then you said it's motionless.
Yeah, everything is frozen in place. I mean, if you want to try it, you can go ahead and do so.
Yeah, Braxton has pushed the bed.
It is hard as a rock. There is only one bed, so you'd guess that these are quarters for a single person.
Yeah, it's got to be for the boss. Okay, should we try the last two paths and hope they're the last two?
Yeah. Was there anything else of note in here besides the wonderfully designed furniture?
Nothing that really catches your eye. I mean, everything is so strange. There's a lot of things that you would guess are personal effects, but you don't really recognize their function. Like, there's something that you think is a hairbrush, but it's nothing like a hairbrush you've ever seen before.
Interesting. Okay.
All right, so back in the previous chamber, did you want to take the arbitrary right or arbitrary left?
Let's do arbitrary right.
Okay. You leave the previous chamber with the burning bedding and everything like that, and enter another corridor that you estimate is about 140 feet long. And this takes you into another large chamber, about 200 feet in diameter. And once again, you can see a battle is raging. There are two more exits from this chamber besides the one that you came in. One straight across, and another one at 90 degrees perpendicular to both of these. Opposite that perpendicular one, in the center of the far wall, is a large cylinder. However, the cylinder appears to be splitting open almost from the inside. You can see that the metal that makes it up is peeled back like the soft rind of a fruit. And the walls on this are basically all black. The entire chamber is made of what appears to be a black, almost glossy stone. Coming out of this cylinder is a 12-foot tall, somewhat humanoid form, at least from the torso up kind of thing, but they're kind of it's sort of vague. It has two arms, kind of a lumpy head with two recessed eye holes or indentations or something like that. And it seems to be resting on top of a frozen whirlwind of grit and sand or something like that. On either side of it are a pair of spherical billowing clouds, similar to the things that you fought before you entered this entire complex. Above these things, bursting forth from the this cylinder, you see another of the spindly blue-skinned creatures, and facing it is a figure that you immediately recognize from the two dungeons on Radal. It's clearly the Rhaegar, who set an image of himself, although his clothing is different, and this time he's wearing metal armor that has almost a feathered rainbow color appearance to it, and from a belt type object are hanging two rapiers on either side. His armor does have large, like, metallic wings, and they are outstretched, and he is up in the air. Whether that's what's allowing him to fly or something else, you're not sure. But everything is frozen in place. You clearly recognize him because of his the shade of blue hair and the purple eyes, and he is facing the blue-skinned creature kind of across the open space. Below them, you see...
That's not an arcane, is it? It's something else.
No, it's a six-armed, the blue-skinned six-armed creature. And
right, sorry.
the Rhaegar. That's what's up in the air.
Yeah. All right, so we need some more crew, and we got enough Giff.
On the ground, you see another sheet of flame, this one about 12 feet tall, and it is lashing with a pseudopod at a pair of large spear-wielding humanoids with porcelain skin, and 2 more of the centaurine figures are rushing, clearly to, trying to get into combat with that, rushing to engage. You also see 3 green-haired lockshoes. Again, like you've seen in previous rooms, they're being battered by something unseen. One of the women wears golden armor and wields a khopesh. The second one has black armor with white highlights and has a crossbow. And the third one has somewhat translucent, shimmery crystal armor and has a javelin. I should also note that there appears to be kind of a pale blue shimmery globe around the 6-armed figure in the air. Upon entering,
Never. Can you work out what that globe is?
Upon entering, Snowlark immediately cries out, points to the Rhaegar, and says that is her master Giavos, and she needs to find a way to help him.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on about that. So, I guess Braxon, you were saying something real quick.
I was just asking Lever, can you see what that globe is? Is that some sort of protective globe?
Can I see that?
You can roll
Is that
spellcraft.
spellcraft?
Yep. Anytime you want to try to figure out what a spell is or some sort of magical effect, it's almost always going to be spellcraft. Nope, you have never experienced that before. You're pretty sure it's magic, though.
Oh,
You know, I wish I had these rolls in a combat.
so that sphere might stop us from tying that creature up. So we'll have to come up with another way of dealing with him or her.
Yeah, we'll have to fight him. I'll look around. So, how many quote unquote bad guys is there in here? There's the blue skinny bug thing. There's a sand elemental looking thing, right?
Somewhat humanoid figure, and then 2 of the spherical things on either side.
Okay.
And then
Alright.
something unseen that's attacking the lockshoe.
Can we dump flour on those invisible things and make them visible? Do you
I mean,
think?
you can try, but you don't have any flour with you. You'd have to.
No,
go.
Well, we have paint though, don't we? Yeah.
Well, I mean, you've got flour on the ship, but you'd have to go.
Flour on ship, yeah.
Okay. You'd have to go tell crew, and again, you've basically sent away everyone who, other than the players, who could to go do that.
Yeah, we're probably not going to engage in a fight right now, this particular moment anyway. Our spellcasters need to refresh spells and that sort of thing before we were to get into any sort of fight. Plus, we're going to explore a little more. But we could paint them, couldn't we? Braxon, with the ship paint?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question.
It may or may not work.
That might be better than wasting food.
Do we have to?
Yes, Lafdul.
Is Sten with us, and is he reacting to the Rhaegar?
He is with you. He is not reacting.
I go to Sten and say, "Is that your master?"
He does not respond in any way.
Does he even look at me, acknowledge me when I say, "I'm pointing at, I'm trying to get his attention"?
No.
Okay.
What does he look at? Or what does it look at?
It's hard to tell. As far as you can tell, I mean, it just appears to be looking straight ahead.
Hmm.
Can we beckon Sten over? Does he follow?
I mean, you can beckon him over, but he doesn't do anything.
I'm wondering if we have tar on the ship, if we could paint the heads of the
Probably
invisible
got tar
creatures
to seal.
and the other creatures.
Oh, paint over their eyes and everything, right?
Yeah. The thing is, it's not going to.
I actually like that idea.
It's not going to stick to them, but it'll drop on their head, or it'll make a sort of tight skin around them.
Well, you don't actually know where the eyes, if they even have eyes, are on the invisible things.
That's true.
The invisible thing, but I mean the bug creatures.
That's true. There are strange things in wild space. They might see out of their feet.
Yeah, Braxon, Lafdul comments to himself.
All right. So there's all those bad creatures. You said there's a ripped apart piece of the tube thing here.
It's an enormous cylinder, over 20 feet high, and bursting forth from that is that somewhat humanoid thing atop the swirling whirlwind.
Can I take a closer look at that thing?
You can.
Is that a genie or an ifrit?
You've never encountered those before, so maybe.
Mm.
I mean, you've certainly heard that genies sometimes, are legless and just appear on top of a whirlwind kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Higgimus, you're going over to it. What are you doing? There
I'm
are
not poking at
frozen.
anything.
Right, I understand. There are frozen arcing, like electrical arcs on the cylinder.
Try to avoid that. But I'm just trying to get a better look at it. The creature and everything, or humanoid thing.
It's very vague and almost formless. Like the head is lumpy. It doesn't. It's close up. It doesn't look like it has skin. It's something else, and it looks kind of rough to the touch. Not that you're touching it, I understand. And the hands are more like you don't see any joints on them. They're just kind of like curved and kind of thick and almost mitten-like, but there are fingers.
This is busting out of the tube thing?
Yes.
Big tube thing busting out of there. Or if this thing's breaking that thing, or if it's just coming out of it. Taking a look at it, can I see into the tube thing, or my vision obscured there?
Your vision is pretty well obscured by this by the thing bursting out. What little you can see inside, you can see some. I mean, it's pretty dark in there, but you can see some like metal bands, and there are more electrical arcs inside there.
I see. Okay. Is there anything on the radar that could indicate that he's touching something to have caused this stasis thing?
His hands are out, and it looks like his fingers are in the midst of wiggling.
I'll look over to Leva. Can you make out what he's trying to do with his finger wag? Probably not, but Higgimus doesn't know that.
I can try. Can I spellcraft?
You can try.
Wah.
Nope.
No.
Not you can't see enough. Just the fingers fixed in position like that. You're pretty sure he's in the midst of casting a spell, but that's about as much as you can gather.
Oh, so it's in the middle of casting something, not that he has casted it.
Correct.
Yeah, she's pretty sure that he's in the midst of casting a spell.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Or if I have something. Is this tube thing here look like it's the same thing as that long one that was in the big room?
It's certainly got a similar construction, and there are like down near the base, it's got a wider base, and there are things that sink into the floor, like tubing and bands, metal bands, and things like that. And to your eye, especially with your skill at gunsmithing, you do see the similar construction, and it's not unreasonable for you to assume that they are somehow connected.
I'll turn it over to Snowlark. Do you know what this cylinder thing was for?
Not precisely. I paid very little attention to his work. It had no bearing on my duties. But as I understand it, this is the central power structure that runs everything.
I know you said before that you didn't really know your way around too much in this place, but Would you happen to know where the core of this thing is? Or is this a core?
This and the enormous cylinder throughout the entire chamber previously, those are the cores as I understand it. There is another supplementary device further in, but I don't know exactly what it does.
Okay. And there's other rooms further on from where we're at right now.
She points to
looks
the
like-
2 exits that out of this chamber. She says, "Yes, those 2."
Okay. All right, so we'll need to get some people in this place here. Did the painting of the bug things' faces sound like a good idea to everybody? Especially over their eyes.
Well, obviously to me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
All right, so we might do that in the time when we have to have the casters, but let's continue our exploration.
All right, do you want to go take the perpendicular route or the one opposite where you came in?
What do you think, guys? Let's do the opposite where I came in. Oh, wait, is there a particular area where it looks like the... what's his name? The Rhaegar is, like, trying to intercede?
It's impossible to tell. He is staring straight at the blue-skinned, 6-armed creature in the air.
All right, the opposite of the way we came in.
Okay. So you travel around and enter that corridor. You find that one is about 150 feet long. Traveling down that, you find yourself entering another chamber, 50 feet in diameter. This one, similarly to the previous chamber, is also the same kind of somewhat glossy black stone. You see 2 exits in addition to where you came in, one directly opposite and one perpendicular. However, on the wall opposite the perpendicular exit, you see a device of some sort. It almost looks like an hourglass, and unlike everything else in this place, it's spinning.
Mm.
And you can feel waves coming off of it.
Oof.
Like something, and it is giving you a bit of a headache.
Oof. All right, I think that's the what's it that's causing a lot of the issues here.
As you
Let's
enter
not
the
play with it.
chamber, your black-armored
no.
friend immediately, faster than any of you have ever seen it move, blazes across the chamber and with a great punch smashes into it.
Oh, lovely. That's going
Oh,
to
no.
freeze everything.
Yay.
And that's where we're going to take our break.
So we only explore.
What?
Yeah, great.
Have to find out what
No, we-
happens after the break in about 10 minutes.
I
So-
knew STEM was going to cause us a problem at some
I
point.
don't even think any of our crew are in any places.
Well, no, we were having
No,
them.
they were.
Yeah, they were in place and doing their things.
Are you sure they had time?
No, they're going to be like mid-transport, and Yeldan and our mage isn't going to be here either. That priest, I mean.
Higgimus, I hope you're ashamed.
No, I'm not at all.
I'm Gearbuck.
Well, you
We'll be
just
back.
don't have any spells, so you have to live without the spellcasters.
We'll be
Sorry,
back in
Bob.
about 10 minutes, everyone. See you shortly.